Welcome to the Jon Harrison Podcast. Statistics show us that about 70% of people are disengaged in the workplace. Obviously, that affects bottom lines of companies, individual, their own engagement at work, but also affects families and communities. We don't want to just be frustrated about things that are going on in the workplace or in the world. We want to do something about it. So we're going to talk about this while others aren't, and we hope you will join us on this journey.
Welcome back to the Jon Harrison Podcast. This is Madeline, and I've got the whole team here, John, Melissa, and Jason. And today, you probably saw the title, but we're going to be talking about keeping your water in your bottle and how to manage whenever your water is draining. And whenever we say that, we are assuming you know what we're talking about, because we use this analogy all the time, but we look at passion like water in a bottle. And as you come to work, you have a full bottle full of water and passion. And as the day goes on, there's things that you encounter like people and like technology and just environmental things, maybe the traffic whenever you came to work, and slowly that water starts leaking out of your bottle. The passion starts leaking. And by the end of the day, you may be going home with a very empty bottle to your family and your community. So we think this is very important, and we're going to talk about some things. So John, you want to hit it off?
All right. Thanks, Madeline. Yeah, and I think what we're going to hone in on today is people that we might call bottle drainers. And it could be for all different reasons. They could be negative. They could just be chatty when you're trying to get work done. But we all know folks like that. And they probably aren't intentionally trying to suck water out of people's bottles all day, but they do. And we've had people in our sessions say, what do you do about that when you've got somebody that I work with and that's kind of their vibe? So I'll let the team jump in here, but I think it really gets down to a lot of our things that we talk about in our longer sessions. And by the way, this is peer-to-peer, not necessarily supervisor to a direct report. This is anybody. But it's caring about people. It's getting awkward early, so to speak. Let's not let this thing build up to the point where it's driving you crazy. But just taking that little leap of faith, and I'm going to say something to this person about the situation. So that's what I would say is the overriding thing, is don't let this get to the point where you're so frustrated that you're shunning this person, or you see them coming down the hall and you run the other direction, because that's usually what we do, is we just avoid it till it's a bigger issue. But any of you that have kind of dealt with this, what would you say? What's some advice you would give to our listeners?
Well, before the episode, we were kind of talking about some examples here, and gosh, I don't know if I have the best advice for this situation, but I've been in situations, not necessarily with work, but I remember specifically in college, I would sit next to certain people that were very chatty, would never, they wouldn't listen to the professor, and they were just talking. I'm a golden retriever personality, so I want to follow the rules, and I want to be quiet. And I just remember being so drained after. I'm thinking of a specific person. They were also very negative. Negative people can drain your bottle. So I don't know if I handled it very well. I think I probably just shut down sometimes, or tried to ignore or try not to sit by them.
Escape.
Exactly. And I don't think I ever did the right thing, which probably would have been in this case, to let her know, like, hey, I'm trying to focus. And maybe I said it a couple times, but some people don't receive things well. And sometimes you do have to set up boundaries, but that's just kind of a light example that I've experienced. That is draining,
Yeah, I think about all of our expectations, cohesively, and kind of knowing your people, and knowing your people goes past a leader knowing their direct reports. It's a peer-to-peer thing. Mm-hmm. And, if you pay attention, especially like the four of us, right? I mean, we know each other pretty well. I think we don't spend a lot of time in the same room together, but we pay attention to when something just seems off. And so knowing when to say something and how to say it without getting into their personal business, I think, is a key piece of that. And I mean, you can do it quite simply just by saying, hey, I noticed, you seem a little different. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can help you with? And see if they'll open up to you from that perspective. And you can do that from a peer-to-peer situation too. But being aware of those situations and being willing to kind of take the risk to show that you care is part of knowing your people, or knowing your peers in that case.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. And so over time, I guess, just different jobs I've been in, I've asked people, are you okay, or what's going on? And just trying to find out because they were down or they were more negative than they normally are. And so there have actually been times when they said, well, it's kind of personal, and I said, okay, well, just if you ever want to talk about it, just let me know. So that is one thing. So just so they know someone is there and they do care, and then just kind of take it from there. So, and sometimes what I do, because I'm a golden retriever at times too, I guess I'm a little bit of everything based on the personality traits.
Good mix.
I'm a good mix, I think. But anyway, sometimes I'll even joke around if somebody's like a little bit too chatty. I'll make a little joke like, shh, I'm not like dead serious. Well, like not a real shush, like kind of like like kind of playful shush.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so I'll make a gesture and things just to try to do that. So I'll do that once or twice, and then after that I'll say, "Be quiet." No, I'm kidding. I do not do that. Just kidding.
But people are different, and I think some people are more self-aware than others.
Yes.
And so you can even back to Melissa's point of knowing your people. You might know with this person, I can joke with you, and we've done that. Like in this room, we've done that, where I go, I know with Jason, I can say blah blah, and he'll get it. It's a joke, and I might not say that with somebody else. But I think we always say this too, that I think you need people in your lives, obviously in your close circle of friends, people that will speak truth to you, and they care about you enough to actually bring something up. Now, your coworkers may not be in that inner circle, so to speak. They may not be your best friends and they know everything about your personal life, but still just to notice. And I think like what Jason said was good, just to say, everything okay? And if they go, no, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, but if you ever do, I think that goes a long way. And I probably think because our society is a little more on edge, so to speak, and I feel like we're worried about lawsuits and all kinds of things, and so people just kind of say, I'm not getting involved. I mean, we've seen this with like crime situations, and people just back off and let crazy stuff happen instead of going, I'm going to go help. So I think even in the workplace, we might go, I'm not going to say anything because they're going to accuse me of getting too personal with them. But you don't have to say, is your marriage okay? Right. But just say, is everything okay? And I think to get that out there early with people, even if it is a very cheery, chatty person, that's different than are you okay? But say, man, I love, the spirit you bring to the workplace every day, but right now or first thing in the morning is really not the best time for us to chat because I got all these things I need to do first thing and whatever. And again, if they go, well, Madeline, then fine, I'll never talk to you again. Then that's on them, and that's kind of silly and not likely.
Well, bottle drainers can be positive too, not just negative. Right. I think about people I've worked with over the years that have like been trying to buy a house, Jason, right?
Yes.
And they're going through all the numbers and they're wanting to chat about the pros and the cons of this house or that house or, whatever. Or they're trying to adopt a child or something, and they're looking for resources and help and just feedback and input from people, right? Both of those things are very exciting, positive kinds of things, but it can take a lot of time out of your day to have a discussion. And the other thing I personally would caution about is you're not an expert in everything that you're asked about, regardless of what the subject or topic is. So, just be cautious in terms of that and know what some additional resources are, or maybe help them find additional resources. I actually had somebody come to me one time that was seriously thinking about adopting a child. And I was like, have you ever done any volunteer work, like through Big Brothers Big Sisters or, something like that? And they're like, no. And I suggested, well, maybe you should spend some time in an organization like that before thinking about adopting a child. And, it's
ease into it, maybe.
Yeah, ease into it just a little bit. But also they probably have some resources to help you manage through and decide if that's the right thing for you.
Yeah.
Another part of that today, which is different with technology, right, is used to be a long time ago, people had a few pictures like in their purse or their wallet. I just remember guys having like, here's, here's my kid. Well, now they have 5,000 pictures in their wallet.
Right.
And videos and whatever. And so even that, like, hey, here's my kid's birthday party this Saturday, and there's 63 pictures. And I think we all have to be on both sides of that too and realize, okay, you know what? Madeline probably doesn't want to see 63 pictures of my kid's birthday party. Mm-hmm. Now, if Madeline said, hey, how did the birthday party go? That's a great little opening. Yeah. But I think it's being respectful in both of those situations too, where, like, as we just said, it's not always negative people.
Right.
But we do have to have boundaries. And I think people, if you've shown that you care about them, they will respect a boundary. Hey, I don't have time to look at all those pictures right now. Maybe we can look at some more at lunch. But back a little bit on the negative stuff. I think if you see a tendency of somebody who generally was not negative, who is now, or starting to get more cynical, then I do think it's good to check in with them. Now, we just said this again before we started recording. Don't overrun your headlights a little bit. You don't need to become a therapist or a marriage counselor or a doctor. You can just say, hey, our company has a employee assistance plan. If you have that or program, there's ways you can get help. Have you talked to a doctor about that? Have you thought about getting counseling? Like, you don't have to be the expert in all these things, back to what Melissa just said. So I know that scares people away. Like, well, if I ask, what if they say it's about their marriage and now I'm in the middle of this? No, you can say, I can share some things we went through, but if you need more deeper help on this, then I would suggest blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That does scare people away a little bit. So really, I think, again, this boils down to noticing people, checking in with them, and having that difficult conversation, so to speak, before it. Because, again, I saw people at Caterpillar that they would literally run the other direction if they saw them in the hallway. And this is not, that's kind of like 7th grade kind of stuff to me.
Yeah. Well, we talk a lot about the 9 expectations, right? And how this is maybe our last chance to kind of regain positivity and excitement in society and life, and being able to be that person that can listen, but also help offer, pointing them in the right direction, or getting someone the assistance that they need in terms of, who they are at work every day. And if it impacts their life personally in a positive way later, or in the communities that they live and work in, then that's all we're striving for.
That's right. And the last thing I'll say is, if there are negative people that it's not just with you, but that's kind of their vibe all day long, then I think it is fine to say, hey, man, I get that you're frustrated at work, or have you talked to HR? Have you talked to your boss? But I think it's also good to say, I'm just going to let you know that vibe is hurting other people. Mm-hmm. Like, they may be going home now with less water because of that. Yeah. And so that's affecting their marriages and their health. And so, again, catch it early where that's not too dramatic of a statement, but I think that statement is accurate in many cases. They don't realize, and I've yet to find an employee yet that wants to hurt people's marriages or their relationship with their kids or their physical, emotional health. I don't think they come to work and go, that's my goal today. Right. But to point out when that's kind of your mojo every day, be careful about that.
That's really good. Yeah, I was just telling the team, I watched a little TikTok video of a girl that I've been following for a long time. And I think, she was responding to some question about kind of this topic of cutting people out of her life and how does she stay around positive people. And she was like, well, if anyone's negative around me, it's not worth my time. I just cut them out. And I feel like there are a lot of people that think that way, and they do. They walk the other direction, like you said, John. So there's a balance with all of this. And if it's a repeated thing, then have that deep, difficult conversation. But yes, I think that it's very important that we talk to these people, because you just don't want to cut them out of your life. Like, people matter, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, that's right. And at some point you may have to, but I wouldn't have that be your first response. That's well said, Madeline.
No, definitely not. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us today on the Jon Harrison Podcast. As you know, we believe that a positive work culture creates a ripple effect that extends into families and communities. If you found anything of value in today's episode, please share it with somebody so they can hear it as well. And if you have questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please fill out the form below.